First of all, the price of the harpy is plummeting, so instead of selling 2, I'm going to upgrade this right now. Here we go. You know what that means. I have the worst luck. Come on, baby. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Hello friends, this is Dirky Dirk. I want to give you another build guide because we got to update these things all the time. This one is faction specific. So hello new guys, hello old guys with maybe some new tips. Maybe in the comments below tell me what I'm doing wrong. Here's the bad news. There's an epidemic coming in only 7 years from now and does really horrible things to everyone. The ones who survive are kind of mutated and just kind of go insane. Maybe it was from a meteorite? Ooh. Anyway, 20 years later, it's kind of a mess out there and people are just scrambling for different kinds of resources, and that is you, my friends. Alright, so you are a beginner. That means you are an engineer. Congratulations, everyone's an engineer. That's just kind of how it is. So what about engineers? They are an inventive, independent group. I guess they're as close as you can get to the good guys around here. They used to be aggressive, and now they kind of feel guilt about that. But anyway, this is the faction that you are stuck with for life. Of course, you start out with this pickup truck. Do not despair, my friends. It gets a lot better. As it goes, you will be acquiring new armor bits from the engineers, and here they all are. You will use these parts throughout, these little engineer parts. Probably the ones that make the most sense are fenders. These are nice and beefy, they kind of make sense, they go over a tire. You get a whole bunch of them, you can just kind of stack them one by one. They are also pretty good gun mounts. They kind of fit around the guns and they protect them a little bit. And as you go, you're getting some scrap and you're also getting some coins. And with that, you probably want to go to the market, get some really cheap decor. They will pump up your reputation and kind of make it a little easier for you. Now, you have your bumpers. Have here a nice bumper in the front. It'll do some ram damage. It'll protect your stuff. It'll protect your frames, as you can see. And I also have some blades, which are attached to my cab, and they also do some more damage. Notice how they're not just attached to armor bits, because anything here will be lost. And as you're going, you also want to start to acquire some decent wheels. The medium wheels are the best common wheels. They're a bit beefier, they have more HP. And here's another trick. You might find that if you're losing some wheels, you are pretty much dead in the game. So get yourself more wheels. 6 wheels is perfectly fine. Will make you really OP in the beginning. I have non-steering wheels in the center, because I noticed that if they are blown off, and I only have steering wheels in the middle, then the car won't quite know how to steer and it'll kind of go diagonal. And yes, they also provide more tonnage, which I'll get into possibly later. Now you will also know, as a beginner, you can separate these frames. They don't have to be totally tight together. You can have a little hole over here under your cab. That is a wonderful place to get a fuel barrel. That will get some fuel, and you can sell your fuel for some more coins. And if it's under the cab, it's really hard to be shot off by beginners, and it's also protected by this wheel over here. And there's a radio, which will help for some more info on your map as far as where enemies are. And that's about it. I do have some really beefy parts over here that will add some HP. So all this armor is adding HP to your vehicle, which is really important. You might want to just avoid these little pieces over here. It might look pretty to do things like that, but they don't really add a whole lot to your HP altogether. So this vehicle here has 40 parts. And as a beginner, you want to increase your part limit, definitely, because there's only so much you can do with 40 parts. This is about it. Eventually, that'll go to 80 parts total once you level up, so do that as soon as you can. And notice how my weapons are all attached to my cab where they should, or they're attached to grill bits, like I said before, and those grill bits are attached to the frame. And I do protect them a little bit with some armor and a bumper. These will be shot off eventually, but remember, if someone shoots this, you saved your gun for a little bit. This game is all about weapon pieces being shot off in-game, don't worry about it. So what you want to do first is, of course, you want to get this huntsman cabin. Yes, it looks just like your gorilla cabin standard, but it is a white item, not a gray one. It gives you more energy, just better overall. Try to get that. And once you do that, try to get these cords. They are upgrade from your little hornet, and 4 is perfectly fine for slaughtering people in the very beginning. Now, engineers is a pretty good place to start trying out new weapons. Of course, you start with machine guns, you have no choice, but eventually you can look into these guys, your shotguns and your Avengers. And if you ever have spare energy, try slapping on this, the Breeze. It'll give your weapons some more shots before they overheat. Really, really important. Now, having said that, you will have an opportunity to join an additional faction. And here they are, so you'll make a choice. You can choose a Loonatics, Nomads, or Scavengers, and just like this. Change faction, and now I am a Nomad. And note that you have about 1 day between when you can change factions, so kind of choose carefully. And now you want to level these guys up. As a rule of thumb, you do want to switch back and forth between factions, level them all up kind of evenly. Reason being, each faction you can craft different things, and also while you're here leveling, you will also start to add unique armor pieces unique to the faction. That is really important. Here is the Nomad. Why am I doing this? So you have an idea about which faction you want to start with. So Nomads are one of those people that kind of got deformed from this, whatever this Crossout disease was, and so they kind of cover each other up, but they are fairly good guys still. They act as mediators sometimes. They have really beautiful armor, kind of based off of airplanes usually. So there's a wing that's kind of a wing. They're kind of rounded and smooth and beautiful. Very nice. Most importantly, you want to get this. This is a small plow. It is really strong. It'll protect anything. You can also use it to protect weapons, for example. You can put it in the front for some ramming and to wedge people. So definitely try to get that small plow regardless. Really important. Otherwise, you do get more of these spiky bits, which is really important. Not just your hatchets. You have blade wings and twin blade wings. That will cause a lot more damage when you ram people, and they kind of cover things pretty well. So I definitely recommend that. And here is the cabin. It is a wyvern, which is pretty standard medium across the board cabin. It's so boring that you don't really see it a whole lot. There are better cabins, but there you go. Definitely better than a huntsman. The wheels you don't really need, trust me. Landing gears are some of the smallest wheels, which to me is not great, but some people like them because they're hard to shoot. And racing wheels are pretty solid as standard blue wheels, but remember, do that later. Now they are good for machine guns, so here I got some basic cords. You can upgrade those cords into defenders or vectors, which are just stronger than your standard machine guns. Engines at this stage cost 1 energy. I don't really recommend blue engines at all. Falcon is kind of cute, and your generator is pretty important. This will give you 2 energy. It does explode, so keep that under your cab well hidden, but that is a good way to put some more stuff on your vehicle. And definitely grind for this, the chameleon. This is one of the most important hardware pieces. The first time you get a chameleon and start using it, you feel really OP. I mean, come on, just being able to just hide from your enemies like that. Fighting against starter cars, it is really powerful. Enjoy that and have fun. Now the armor has a good weight to durability ratio. It's really standard medium. It works for everything. It doesn't really slow you down too much. That's why this is a good faction to start with. Get some decent armor, some little blades, and definitely get that small plow. Very important. Next we'll talk about the Loonatics. Okay, so Loonatics is exactly what you think about the enemies in Mad Max, those random raiders that are just out to attack everything for absolutely no reason. That's them. Somehow they were not really physically affected by disease, but they are just totally insane and bloodthirsty and crazy. And there's Psycho Pete, so they're really fast, they like explodey things. It sounds kind of fun. And it is fun, they are really super fast. And they are really good if you like shotguns. So first try your Luparas. If Luparas are good for you, Sledgehammers is a really good upgrade from that. Your Growl Cab is really good as well. It's really kind of squishy, but it's very fast and it adds 11 energy. So you have 1 more energy to do something. Now here you see I have 3 Luparas and I have 2 more energy. I might want to get some coolers or radiator. But remember, don't sweat. You get those from engineers. So there's your chill, there's your cooler. Now as far as their armor has some of the best weight to durability ratio. Problem is their durability is really tiny. Gets picked off so easily. It's really kind of junky. For a beginner player, Nomad parts will definitely do something for your vehicle. These guys being shut off, it's not quite so worth it. It's kind of cute. It's pretty. You can take these little grill pieces and just kind of stick it all over your vehicle and cover the important bits. Yes, they're kind of big and meaty, but they do get shut off really quickly. And you do get more of these bumpers, which is kind of nice to have more of those. Now here is a poor man's wedge. Eventually, you do want to get a small plow to have kind of a wedge over here. Wedges go really well with these shotgun builds, so definitely go to Nomads, get that small plow, and mix that in with all your other vehicles. But yeah, you get lots of different kinds of bumpers. There's a bumper spike, there's your bull bar, really good for covering up weapons, just like your standard off-road bumpers. Now, these studded wheels, in my opinion, are high power score small wheels. They're pretty easy to shoot off. I'd avoid those altogether. Chains are a bit better. If you really need to, their engine costs no energy. If you want to slap that on any vehicle, it's not bad. It gives you about 10 miles per hour faster sometimes, depending on your build. And this one is really good for melee. You got your buzzsaws and your boomsticks. In the very beginning, it may be fun to have a couple of boomsticks on all your vehicles just for kind of a quick frag or to help you kill that first thing really easily. And buzzsaws are really strong melee bits. I don't recommend that you start off with melee. I would recommend that you work your way up. Learn how to play cautiously. And also get some heavier HP armor bits for your vehicle. And definitely a chameleon. Chameleon works with everything, so that's why get your chameleon, come back to Loonatics. Their generator is the big G, which gives 1 energy, which is nothing to laugh at. It's not so explodey, and you have that extra energy from your growl cabs. So that's for Loonatics, you get 2 energy you can add on if you grind for these things. And now Scavengers. Scavengers are kinda okay guys too. I guess they've done some shady things back in the day, but they're really collectors, and this guy is trying to bring back the old cars. They look for these old military bases and factories, and they just kind of take whatever they can get. Here are scavenger bits. Now scavengers tend to be really super heavy, and you have to be careful about that. It's really easy to overweight your vehicles with all of these pieces. However, if you have some kind of a cannon job, then slow is kind of your friend. Don't worry so much about that. Now scavengers are really neat because they have these little pipes you can use, which are decorative and can also kind of be spaced armor all over the place. They also have some of these boring truck door things, so if you want to make just a standard cargo box or something, you can totally use these parts to make a shipping container kind of thing. It's gonna be quite heavy though. Here's the cab. It is the trucker. It's not really great. It is a heavy cab, and here's the warning. Heavy cabs are usually 1 less energy than they should be. You sacrifice the energy for more HP. So if you want double cannons, you may have to get the generator right away. So here it is, the PU1 charge. I like it. It adds 2 energy. It is more heavy than most generators, but it's got some decent HP. It's not so explodey. And this is really important. This is the train plow. It's gonna take you a while to unlock that train plow. In the meantime, you have terrible bars, which are pretty good for capping things off your front and your back. But that train plow is massive and solid, and also really good for making wedges for your shotgun builds. It's gonna take you to level 7 though, for just 1. And their wheels are the twin wheels, which are really, really great. Once you have everything else, I recommend them for just regular all-purpose wheels. Really excellent. And large wheels are pretty solid. They're pretty big. They don't have a whole lot of traction, but they have some good HP. And also, while most wheels will allow you to build 1 point below the frame, large wheels sometimes will allow you to build 2 points below the frames. That's pretty decent. Now, as far as their weapons, if you like Avengers, you can move up to the Judge. It has more HP. Reloading is kind of a problem, but it's pretty okay. The Boar is a melee, which doesn't do nearly as much damage as the Buzzsaw, but it has more HP, so I kind of recommend the Buzzsaw these days. So those are the factions. Enjoy. Just kind of make a good decision on which one you want. Of course, you do want to level all of them. As a rule of thumb, level the Nomads, Loonatics, and Scavengers all to level 10. Once they're level 10, you can then step on to the next faction. So from Nomads, go to Dawn's Children. From Loonatics, go to Firestarters. From Scavengers, go to Steppenwolves. To craft what you want and to get more armor bits, you definitely want that. These 3 factions have a lot more nice armor bits. And of course, you want to mix and match those armor bits. Loonatics gives you lots of bumpers, Nomads gives you the small plow and just decent middleweight armor. Scavengers gives you those heavy terrible bars and other things, but it's pretty heavy. Also note that unlocking each faction for the first time will give you a new co-driver. And they are pretty okay. You'll probably be stuck with Master Jack for a while. But eventually you'll have Bulldog for shotguns, Perseus for machine guns, and Stone Death for cannons. And just note that in order to level them up, you'll be spending crazy resources, so probably not worth it for a very long time to level these guys up to the next tier. Also, as a general tip, Awakenings is not a bad place for a beginner to get lots of experience and lots of resources fast. It's also very easy. The bots in this game are definitely much more squishy than they really should be. So you have an easy time just getting some resources, getting through these quests done. It beats being slaughtered in PvP by seal clubbers. Also, Awakenings is where we were first introduced to the Ravagers, which is actually kind of cool. And Ravagers is going to be a new faction. What they're going to do, nobody knows. It's probably going to be really different than your standard factions right now, which could mean that it's more has something to do with this Awakenings game mode. It could mean that it could be an alternate to Engineers, which I really was kind of hoping for. And from what it looks like, it seems like you will have CKs available for different cabins to make them all kind of more Ravager-esque, which is pretty beautiful. Okay folks, that is it. Welcome to Crossout. Happy building. Let me know if you have any more tips for our beginners. You know, positive ones, maybe. Don't sweat the packs, that kind of thing. I will see you guys later. Bye.
Don't drop that Dirk, hey, don't drop that Dirk.